What's up, guys? There are homes for sale in Los Angeles right now that look like a dream, but in reality, they are nightmares waiting to happen. And the terrifying truth is that buyers have no idea they're walking into a trap. After touring thousands of properties in Los Angeles, I have learned which are the properties to avoid and which are the ones to call home. That's why today I'm exposing the 5 types of homes to avoid in Los Angeles, the risks, the red flags, and the costly mistakes that you need to avoid before signing that contract. And make sure to stay around for number 6, a bonus tip. All right, guys, so the number 1 property to avoid on this list are cheap and quick flips. Look, I think most buyers today know that there are cheap and quick flips out there in the marketplace. Let's just take a look at the business model so that we can first understand how this comes about, right? Let's say I'm an investor or a developer and I'm buying a home for $2 million and my plan is to resell it for 3, right? I've got interest rates potentially changing. I've got selling costs, city and county transfer tax, escrow, title, agent's fees. I have got all these costs. The cost of the materials is going up. Everything is forcing me to make decisions that compromise the benefit of the buyer and benefit me, the seller, right? The name of the game is how can I get the cheapest looking materials that look good so when the buyer gets to the house, they move forward and they buy the house. Who cares what it's like later, right? It's a remodel, especially remodels. With all new construction homes, there is by definition civil code that protects you from builder defects. They are responsible for making sure everything is fixed and perfect. But in a remodel situation, somebody can come in and buy a house, and if they did not know that something was cheap or not good quality and they didn't have prior issues or something like that, there's really nothing you can do. So again, understand that their job is to make the property look as good as possible with the cheapest possible finishes and fixtures and dupe you into paying them a lot of money. So be careful. When you are in these homes, guys, I cannot advise this enough. Take your time. You should spend at least 1 to 2 hours. If you're seeing the house on your lunch break, boom, come back and see it again at night. Spend hours in the property. Open up every single door, every single drawer. Inspect every single detail. Because once you buy this property, it's on you, baby. You know, you need to see things like the water spout comes into the basin right, the cabinets flush properly. I mean, you got to envision living in this house and how it's going to wear. And so it is incredibly important to take a really good look at it. I was in a really good looking remodel the other day, and I was in the primary bathroom and I was trying to open up the vanity so that I can, open up the drawer. I couldn't even do it. Now, listen, it's possible that somebody's gonna go in there and open up a drawer and notice that, and that's gonna turn them off. But a lot of people might go, wow, look at this bathroom, I'm gonna move forward and I'm gonna buy this house. And then they find out later the cabinetry is shit. So look, take my advice. I'm not telling you not to buy a flip. There are very good and very high quality flips out there. Just take your time and give it a really good look. And also try to know the history of the developer or the flipper. How many have they done? How long have they been in business? Perhaps see which ones they've done before. Maybe you can talk to homeowners. I mean, just be careful and make sure you're buying a quality product. All right, guys, so number 2 on the list is homes with unpermitted additions or massive remodeling. All right, so sort of like the fix and flip, the cheap fix and flip, but this one's a little bit different, right? So every now and again, in fact, quite often, especially after COVID and during COVID, I would see these houses that look like they're completely remodeled from head to toe. I mean, they look incredible. These massive kitchen and open family room concepts, the finest fixtures and finishes. And I'm thinking to myself, Was this done with a permit? Look, you've got to go online and you've got to check the permits for yourself. You have to find certificates of occupancy. Excuse me, not certificates of occupancy, but final permits. A certificate of occupancy typically indicates either a new construction or an addition done to a property where the city signs off and a certificate of occupancy is issued. In a flip situation or a massive remodel, they don't have to get a certificate of occupancy, they have to pull a permit. And when the permit is final, the city inspector signs off on it to say that was done. Now here's the problem. Oftentimes I go in, I see these houses that are completely remodeled, and I go in there and I only see a permit pulled for a kitchen and bath remodel. And meanwhile, walls have been knocked down. The structure and integrity of the house has been completely altered. Now look, I'm not telling you guys not to buy those houses, right? I am not telling you don't buy a house that has been remodeled without a permit, okay? For the most part, in my humble opinion, it's okay to do that, but you do need to change out the structure. Let's say a load-bearing wall was removed from the house, okay? Well, did they have a structural engineer involved? Did they do any calculations? How did they decide what to do? How did the structure get changed? What did they do with the shear walls? All of these things are important, not just for the safety and the structural integrity of the house, right? How it will do in high winds or earthquakes, cracking on the walls and above the door frames and windows and stuff like that. But how is it going to resell in the market? I can assure you, if you buy a home that does not have permits and there was a massive remodel and there's no documentation, before you buy that house, get a structural engineer over to that house, have them go in the attic, underneath, have them look at the footings, have them take a look at everything and make some recommendations as to whether or not the home is structurally okay. Okay, guys? So watch out for those homes. Again, I'm not telling you not to buy them, but be careful before you get in. All right, guys. So number 3 are homes too close to the freeway or next to a busy street. With a caveat, if it's walkable and down the streets to shops and restaurants, those generally are very desirable homes because of the walkability. But let's talk about homes that are too close to the freeway. Now look, I'm not an EPA expert. I'm not here to provide you with environmental statistics and to tell you things like living close to the freeway is going to result in you being exposed to more environmental contaminants if you were further away from freeway. But common sense tells me, in my experience as a real estate agent selling these types of homes, is that people tend to shy away from buying homes near the freeway. Now, and the reason they cite is noise, number 1, and number 2, the environmental contaminants. They talk about things like the amount of rubber that's being burned, trash, debris, and those things like that are kicked up when the cars go by fast, and then the air billows into the neighborhood, and of course you breathe it. You've got an air conditioner, you've got filters, you've got all sorts of stuff to clean your air inside, maybe when you're outside. I don't know. All I can tell you is before you go and buy these houses, be careful. Make sure you've priced in a significant value adjustment with your offer. Because the reality is, look, you may decide that you are willing to live next to a freeway to get an awesome house that is in a great neighborhood you could never get into, or a school district that you could never get into unless it was close to the freeway. That's a tough call for some people. But what I'm telling you is, when you're running comps and you're comparing that house to other homes that are the same square footage, same size lot, same amenities, you need to do a good job and you need to make a significant value adjustment. What is that adjustment? Good question. Google it. Appraisers will probably tell you it's between 5 and 10%. So let's say it's a $2 million house. We're talking 200 grand. Okay. Now keep in mind also, when the market's moving 100 miles an hour, you may be able to sell it no problem, but when the market slows down and people are more selective and more careful, you might have to reduce your price even further. So be careful when you're buying homes that are too close to a freeway or a busy street, especially if it doesn't have any great places to walk nearby. You know, people sometimes pull their cars off the busy streets whenever they have easy access or easy ingress and egress to neighborhoods. Typically those houses can be burglarized. So anyways, be careful when you're buying property. Remember what they say, guys, the number 1 thing with real estate is location, location, location. All right, guys, number 4, multi-level vertical homes. All right, guys, so look, here's the deal with multi-level vertical hillside homes. All right, number one is you have to realize they are not for everyone. So when you buy these properties, and I'm absolutely not telling you to avoid them, I have sold some of the most amazing hillside properties with beautiful bucolic settings, privacy, incredible views, walls of glass. I mean, just amazing homes that people would die to own. Those are safe investments, guys, but you got to make sure the layout works right. And keep in mind, again, value adjustment. So when you're buying these homes, you cannot compare it, let's say, to a single level or a standard two-story house where you walk into the main level, there's direct access to the garage, you go right inside, and all the bedrooms, or let's say it's a two-story house, and the family room and the kitchen flow right out to a flat grassy yard, right? And those houses exist in the hills, but let's say it's a downslope property, right? You pull in, you park your car, you go into the main living area, maybe there's a bedroom or two upstairs, but for the most part, to get to the bedrooms, you gotta go downstairs. And sometimes you gotta go downstairs again to get to the yard. Now think about it. If you've got a young family with young kids, it's a little bit harder to be in the kitchen, let's say, and see the kids playing in the yard. It's harder to keep track of everybody. So plus stairs are not usually in demand for people that are older in age, so they have a limited market when they go and sell. So again, when you buy a hillside property, upslope, downslope, think about the fact that you're gonna have to, especially upslope properties, a lot of those ones, you gotta pull into the driveway, grab your groceries, climb up the stairs, go into the kitchen, climb upstairs again to your bedroom, and then come back down. Listen, it's great exercise. And some of these offer views and are amazing properties. But you have to remember that there is a limited pool of buyers for those homes, and you have to purchase those homes correctly. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I've got number 5 coming your way. All right, guys, so number 5 are homes unstable hillsides. Ding, 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 ding. Listen, I think we all understand what that means, but I'm talking more about just geological conditions, right? Most buyers have not had the benefit of walking inside thousands of homes in the Santa Monica Mountains like I have. So they walk in and they don't quite notice the same things that I do, which is the way floors slope, cracking above windows and sliding doors and things like that. Maybe repairs that were made to the pool. I have seen some houses that looked so incredible and were just completely remodeled, but you can already start to see significant settling or cracks in the pool where they have made a repair, and then retaining wall improvements. I mean, look, guys, buying a home in the hillside is tricky. The earth moves, can be heavy rain, there can be slope erosion, there can be slope failure. So these are all things to consider when buying these homes, especially when you're attracted to the view. The number one thing that you can do to protect yourselves is to get a geological inspection of the property and to get a foundation and drainage inspection. These two things are crucial. Now, number one, the geologist is going to talk about the soil conditions underneath. So he's going to tell you when you see a sloping floor, how long has that been there? How much has it settled? Is it going to settle more? Are there expansive soils? Where is the bedrock? All of these things are going to help you understand if your home is going to perform over time. And guys, if you buy the wrong house and you have some soil slippage and settling, and you have to do things like jacking up the foundation and underpinning and things like that, it's tricky. In a down market, when you make that disclosure, people may get nervous. So look, so just be careful when you buy these houses. Make sure you do inspections with a very good geologist, get a foundation and drainage inspection, make sure you're controlling water and having it move away from the perimeter of the foundation, and know the soil condition, and you'll be just fine. All right, guys, so bonus tip number 6, homes with an awkward layout. Guys, I don't care how beautiful the home is. An awkward layout is, by definition, there is no definition for it. It could be an individual definition, but we're talking about bedroom separation. We're talking about bedroom sizes being too small. We're talking about you know, mazy walkways from one part of the house to another. Anything like that that is interesting and different, that doesn't flow well, is going to have an impact on the amount of people that are gonna buy the home. Right? When people walk into these houses, they're gonna wanna feel that the flow is organic. Generally speaking, the kitchen and the family room towards the back of the house with sliding doors to a yard, maybe 1 bedroom down, 3 or 4 bedrooms up, or if it's 1 level, 3 bedrooms all together. The kitchen flows nicely to other parts of the house. These are all big deals. Now look, all the 1940s, 50s, and 60s homes built in the Valley for the most part have the galley style kitchens that are closed off. I'm not saying don't buy those houses. I'm just saying there's a lot of hillside properties or interesting decisions that were made. Bad floor plans are going to wind up biting you in the butt. Your ability to live in that house over time, let's say have a couple kids, they have their space to go, you've got the extra bedroom, everything flows out nicely. All of those things matter. A really good house in a really good location with a really good floor plan is the house that you want to buy. Don't buy a house that's been fixed up, that has issues, or a bad layout. You'll regret it, trust me. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Buying in LA is emotional. Don't let surface level features blind you. Always hire a strong inspector, a great realtor, check permits, and factor in the long-term livability. Avoiding these 5, really 6 types of homes can save you hundreds of thousands in regret. Because in Los Angeles, it's not just about finding the dream house. It's about making sure that dream house doesn't turn into a nightmare. Now you know the 5 types of homes that I would never buy in Los Angeles. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and you'll get more Los Angeles real estate insights, and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what your biggest red flags you've ever seen when touring a property or owning a property. And if you're house hunting in Los Angeles and want to avoid these nightmare scenarios, reach out. I'll help you find a property that's safe, smart, and truly worth your money. Thanks for watching.